Sarah's key wouldn't turn in the lock. She tried again, jiggling it the way she always did when the mechanism stuck. Nothing. At midnight, standing in the hallway of her own apartment building with 3 months' worth of luggage, jet-lagged and exhausted from the flight back from London, this was the last thing she needed. The light was on inside. She could see it bleeding under the door. Had she left it on? No. Impossible. She'd been gone since June, and it was now September. She knocked. Once. Twice. Footsteps approached from inside, and then the door swung open. Jake stood there in pajama pants and a wrinkled t-shirt, his hair sticking up on one side. Her cousin stared at her with wide eyes that quickly narrowed into something that looked like anger. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" The question was so absurd that Sarah actually laughed. "What am I doing here? Jake, this is my apartment. What are you doing here?" She pushed past him before he could answer, and the laugh died in her throat. The living room looked nothing like she'd left it. Her modest couch had been shoved against the wall. In its place sat an enormous gaming setup. 3 monitors glowing blue in the dim light. An expensive chair she'd never seen before positioned in front of it. Energy drink cans littered the coffee table. Takeout containers were stacked on her kitchen counter. "Jake," her voice came out flat. "Why is all your stuff in my apartment?" A girl emerged from the bedroom, Sarah's bedroom, wearing shorts and an oversized hoodie. She looked about 25, blonde, confused. "Babe, who is it?" the girl asked. "This is Sarah," Jake said, and his tone carried an edge that made Sarah's stomach drop. "My cousin, who didn't tell me she was coming back early." "Early?" "My contract ended. I told the family I'd be back in September." "It's September 4th. "You said mid-September," Jake shot back. "I said early to mid-September, and that was 3 months ago. And none of that explains why you're living in my apartment." Sarah's voice rose despite her best efforts to stay calm. The girl, presumably Jake's girlfriend, wrapped her arms around herself and retreated a step. "Okay, everyone just calm down," the girlfriend said. "I'm Madison. Maybe we can all talk about this like adults?" "There's nothing to talk about." Sarah moved further into the apartment, taking inventory. Her bookshelf had been moved. Her plants were dead. The air smelled like stale smoke, even though her lease explicitly prohibited smoking. "Jake, I asked you to check on my place once a week, water the plants, get the mail, that's it. You said I could use it while you were gone." "I absolutely did not say that. You said, and I quote, 'Thanks for helping out. Make yourself comfortable checking on things.'" Jake pulled out his phone, scrolling. "See? Right here." Sarah snatched the phone from his hand. The text message was there, yes, but he'd deliberately cut off the context. The full message read, "Thanks for helping out checking on my apartment. Make yourself comfortable with the spare key. Just lock up when you leave each time." This says, "Make yourself comfortable with the key," not "move in with your girlfriend." She shoved the phone back at him. "Where are my things? Where's my bed?" Jake and Madison exchanged a glance. "In storage," Jake said finally. "Storage? What storage?" "There's a public storage 2 blocks away. Your bed wouldn't fit in the bedroom with ours, so—" "With yours?" Sarah's voice cracked. "You moved my bed out of my apartment to make room for your bed?" Madison stepped forward, phone in hand. "You need to stop yelling. This is harassment, and I'm documenting this." The absurdity of it crashed over Sarah like a wave. She was being accused of harassment in her own home. She pulled out her own phone with shaking hands and called her best friend, Emma. "Sarah? You're back? How was—" "Emma, I need help. Jake moved into my apartment and he won't leave." Emma's voice sharpened immediately. "What? I'm coming over." "No, just tell me what to do. Can I call the police?" Jake's expression changed. "You're going to call the cops on family? Really?" You're squatting in my apartment. I'm not squatting. I live here. I've been here for 6 weeks. I get mail here. I changed my driver's license to this address. Legally, I'm a tenant now. Sarah's hands went cold. Emma, did you hear that? I heard it. Sarah, he might be right. If he's established residency, you can't just kick him out. But call the non-emergency line anyway. They can at least document what's happening. Sarah lowered the phone. Get out, both of you. Get out right now. It's midnight, Madison said, her phone still recording. You can't make someone leave their home at midnight. That's illegal. This isn't your home. Actually, Jake said, and his voice carried a smugness that made Sarah want to scream. Tenant law says you have to give me 30 days' notice to vacate. Minimum. You're insane. Both of you are insane. Sarah dialed 911, then reconsidered and searched for the non-emergency number instead. While the phone rang, Jake made a call of his own. Hey, Mom. Yeah, sorry to wake you. Sarah just got back and she's trying to kick me and Madison out at midnight. She's calling the police on me. Sarah turned away from him. Yes. Hi. I need to report someone trespassing in my apartment. Well, not exactly trespassing. It's complicated. The next 20 minutes were a blur. Sarah tried to explain the situation to the dispatcher. Jake's mother, Aunt Linda, called Sarah's phone 6 times before she answered. The conversation lasted less than a minute before Sarah hung up on her aunt screaming. Then Sarah's mother called. What is going on? Linda says you're having Jake arrested? I'm not having anyone arrested. He moved into my apartment without permission and he won't leave. He told Linda you offered him the place while you were gone. Honey, if you made an agreement. I didn't make any agreement. Mom, he completely moved in. Changed the locks. Put my stuff in storage. Well, where is he supposed to go at midnight? Can't this wait until morning? Sarah closed her eyes. Whose side are you on? I'm not on anyone's side. I'm just saying, he's family. You can work this out. Tell her about the 30-day thing, Jake called out from across the room. 2 police officers arrived while Sarah was still on the phone with her mother. One was older, tired-looking. The other was younger, a woman with sharp eyes who took in the scene quickly. Someone want to explain what's happening? The older officer asked. Everyone started talking at once. The female officer held up her hand. One at a time. You own this place? I rent it, Sarah said. I've lived here for 2 years. I left for 3 months for work and asked my cousin to check on it. I came back tonight and found out he's moved in completely. The officer turned to Jake. And you are? Jake Morrison. I've been staying here, yeah. Sarah said I could use the place while she was gone. I've been here since mid-July. I get mail here, changed my address, the whole thing. Do you pay rent? Jake hesitated. It's a family arrangement. That's a no, the female officer said. She looked at Sarah. Do you have documentation that this is your residence? Lease agreement? Yes, on my laptop. Which is... Sarah looked around. Actually, where is my laptop? In storage with your other stuff, Jake said. I can give you the unit number. The older officer sighed. Look, folks, this is a civil matter. He's established some level of residency here, even without paying rent. Getting mail, having his license changed to this address, that matters. You're going to need to go through the formal eviction process. Eviction? He's not a tenant. He's a squatter. Ma'am, I understand your frustration, but legally, if he's been here for several weeks and receives mail here, she can't just throw me out on the street? Jake interrupted. I have rights. The female officer gave him a look. You also have some nerve. To Sarah. You should contact a lawyer tomorrow. File for eviction if he won't leave voluntarily. But tonight, we can't physically remove him. Sarah felt the world tilting. So I just lost my apartment. I'd suggest staying somewhere else tonight to cool off, the older officer said. Work this out in the morning with clearer heads. After the police left, Sarah stood in the middle of her living room, surrounded by someone else's belongings in her own home. Her phone buzzed continuously. The family group chat was exploding. Aunt Linda had apparently messaged everyone, and now Sarah's phone showed 17 unread messages. You can stay tonight if you want, Jake offered. The couch pulls out. Sarah stared at him. You're offering me my own couch. I'm trying to be nice about this. Sarah grabbed her suitcase and left without another word. She drove to Emma's apartment in silence, her hands gripping the steering wheel so hard her knuckles ached. When Emma opened the door at 1 in the morning, she took one look at Sarah's face and pulled her inside. Tell me everything. Sarah collapsed on Emma's couch and the words spilled out. The gaming setup, the girlfriend, the storage unit, Jake's smug face when he mentioned tenant rights. Emma listened, her expression growing darker with each detail. He actually said you could sleep on your own couch? Like he was doing you a favor? I should have trusted my gut. At that family dinner before I left, when he asked so many questions about my lease, about when exactly I'd be back, I thought he was just making conversation. He was planning this. Emma handed Sarah a cup of tea. The question is, what do we do about it? Sarah's phone buzzed again. She glanced at the screen. Her mother. I can't deal with this right now. You're going to have to eventually. What are they saying? Sarah opened the group chat. The messages painted a clear picture. Aunt Linda had crafted a narrative where Jake was the victim, a young man down on his luck, who Sarah had graciously offered her apartment to, only to cruelly change her mind upon returning. Several cousins had already chimed in expressing disappointment in Sarah's selfishness. They think I'm the bad guy, Sarah said quietly. That's because they're hearing Jake's version. Tomorrow, you set the record straight. Tonight, you sleep. But sleep didn't come. Sarah lay on Emma's guest bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing through everything she'd seen in those few minutes in her apartment. The expensive TV mounted on her wall that definitely wasn't there before. The gaming chair that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Where had Jake gotten the money for all that? At 6 in the morning, Sarah gave up on sleep. She logged into her bank account on her phone, checking her utilities. The electric bill was 2 months overdue, $450. Jake had been living there using her electricity and hadn't paid a cent. She called the landlord, Mr. Chen, at 9 on the dot. Sarah, welcome back. How was London? Mr. Chen, did anyone contact you about my apartment while I was gone? A pause. Yes, actually. Someone named Jake called about 3 weeks ago. Said he was your boyfriend. Asked about adding his name to the lease. I told him I'd need written authorization from you first. He said he'd handle it. Did he not mention it? Sarah's grip on the phone became painful. He's not my boyfriend. He's my cousin, and he moved in without my permission. Oh no. Sarah, I'm so sorry. He was very convincing. He said you two were getting serious and you wanted him to watch the place. I should have called you to confirm. It's not your fault. Did he ask about anything else? He said he'd lost his key and paid to have the locks changed. I authorized it since he knew details about the apartment only a resident would know. The locksmith charged $150 that would come out of Sarah's security deposit. Thank you for telling me. I'll handle it from here. Emma made breakfast while Sarah called a lawyer her company's HR department had recommended once. The consultation was brief and depressing. Yes, Jake likely had tenant rights. Yes, she'd need to file formal eviction paperwork. No, it wouldn't be quick. 30 days minimum, possibly 60 depending on how difficult he wanted to be. Can I at least get my things back? Sarah asked. If they're in a storage unit under your name, yes. If it's under his name, it gets complicated. Sarah hung up and dropped her head into her hands. Emma slid a plate of eggs in front of her. You need to eat. Then we're going to that storage place and getting your stuff. The storage facility was exactly 2 blocks from Sarah's apartment, just as Jake had said. The young guy at the desk looked up from his phone as they approached. Help you? I need to access a unit. My cousin put some of my belongings in storage, and I need to check if it's under my name or his. Name? Sarah Mitchell. Or possibly Jake Morrison. He typed, clicked, typed again. Yeah, we've got a Morrison, Unit 217. Opened it about 6 weeks ago. But I can't let you in without the account holder present. Those are my belongings. I believe you, but policy is policy. If you've got proof of ownership for the items inside, you could file a police report and come back with an officer. Sarah thanked him and walked back outside. Emma was already pulling up photos on her phone. You've got pictures of your apartment from before you left, right? For the sublease insurance? Sarah did. Photos of every room, time-stamped, clearly showing her furniture. They drove to the police station and filed a report for theft. The officer who took the statement was sympathetic but realistic. This is going to take time. These family disputes always do. You might want to consider talking to him directly, seeing if he'll just give your stuff back. He wants money, Sarah said. He'll definitely want money. At noon, Aunt Linda called. Sarah almost didn't answer, but Emma convinced her. You need to hear what she's going to say. Know what you're dealing with. Sarah Marie Mitchell, how dare you file a police report against your own cousin? He stole my belongings, Aunt Linda. That's a fact. He didn't steal anything. You left him in charge of your apartment and now you're having second thoughts. That's not Jake's fault. I didn't leave him in charge. I asked him to water my plants. That's not what he told us. He said you offered him the place, that his lease was ending and you were doing him a favor. He gave up his apartment because of your offer. Sarah felt something cold settle in her chest. He gave up his apartment. Yes, in July. He's been living in your place for 6 weeks because you told him he could. And now you want to make him homeless? Aunt Linda, I have the text messages. I have proof of exactly what I said to him. Would you like me to forward them to you? I don't need to see anything. I know my son, and he wouldn't lie about something like this. Then you don't know him as well as you think you do. Sarah hung up before her aunt could respond. Her hands were shaking. Emma took the phone from her. She's not going to listen, Emma said. Some people can't accept that their kids aren't who they think they are. You need to go around her. How? Your parents, other family members. Show them the proof before Jake's version becomes the only version. Sarah spent the afternoon crafting a message. She attached screenshots of the original text conversation with Jake, showing clearly that she'd only asked him to check on the apartment, not live there. She included photos of her apartment before she left and the utility bills showing 2 months unpaid. She documented the cost of the lock change, the storage unit, everything she could prove. Then she sent it to her parents first. Her mother called within 5 minutes. Oh, Sarah, I'm so sorry. Linda told us something completely different. I know. Your father wants to talk to Jake himself. This is unacceptable. Mom, Jake thinks he has tenant rights. The police said I need to evict him formally. That's ridiculous. He's not a tenant. He's a freeloader. Her mother's voice hardened in a way Sarah recognized from childhood, the tone that meant someone was about to face consequences. We're coming over there. To Emma's? To your apartment. If Jake wants to act like he lives there, he can explain himself to the whole family. An hour later, Sarah found herself back in the hallway of her own building, this time with Emma, her parents, and apparently half the family. Aunt Linda was there with Uncle Bob. Her grandmother had insisted on coming. 2 of her cousins she actually liked, Marcus and Jennifer, showed up in solidarity. Jake answered the door looking significantly less confident than he had at midnight. Oh. Hey everyone. Sarah's father, usually mild-mannered, brushed past Jake without a word. Her mother followed, taking in the apartment with sharp eyes. "Where is Sarah's furniture, Jake?" "In storage. There wasn't room for—" "You put her belongings in storage so you could move your girlfriend into her apartment." It wasn't a question. Madison appeared from the bedroom again, fully dressed this time, but looking like she wanted to disappear. "Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "There's no misunderstanding," Sarah's father said. "My daughter asked Jake to check on her apartment. He moved in completely and changed the locks. Those are facts. She said I could use it." Jake's voice rose. "Show me where she said that." Jake pulled out his phone again, showing the truncated text. Sarah's mother plucked it from his hand and read the full conversation. "This says, make yourself comfortable with the spare key in the context of checking on the apartment. That's not permission to move in." "It's implied permission," Aunt Linda insisted. Sarah wasn't using it. Jake needed a place. Family helps family. "Family doesn't lie to each other," Grandmother said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. She sat in Jake's gaming chair, looking small and tired. "Jacob, did you or did you not tell your mother that Sarah offered you this apartment?" Jake's face flushed. "I mean, kind of. She said I could help out and I figured—" "You figured you'd take advantage?" Grandmother shook her head. "I'm disappointed in you." The room fell silent. Grandmother's disappointment was a weapon in their family, rarely deployed but devastating when it landed. Jake looked at the floor. "I needed a place to stay," he said quietly. "My landlord raised my rent and I couldn't afford it." "So you lied to everyone and stole Sarah's apartment," Marcus said. "Real mature, Jake." "I didn't steal it. I've been taking care of it." "You've been taking care of it?" Sarah finally spoke, her voice dangerous. "Jake, my plants are dead. You haven't paid the electric bill in 2 months. And speaking of things you haven't mentioned, where's my laptop?" "What laptop?" "My MacBook. The one that was on my desk. Where is it?" Jake and Madison exchanged a glance that told Sarah everything she needed to know. "We can get it back," Madison said quickly. "Jake sold it because we needed money for groceries, but we can buy it back." "You sold my $1,500 laptop for grocery money." Sarah's voice stayed eerily calm. "What else did you sell?" "Nothing, just the laptop. And maybe some jewelry we thought you wouldn't miss." The room erupted. Sarah's father started toward Jake before her mother grabbed his arm. Aunt Linda was defending Jake over everyone shouting. Jennifer was on her phone, apparently looking up the legal definition of theft. Emma stood beside Sarah, a steady presence as everything fell apart. "Enough." Grandmother's voice cut through the chaos. "Jacob Morrison, you have 24 hours to return every single item you took from this apartment. You will move out immediately. You will pay Sarah back for the utilities and the lock change, and you will apologize." "But I have tenant rights." "You have nothing," Sarah's father said. "You want to claim tenant rights? Fine. We'll go to court. And in court, you'll have to explain to a judge why you sold your landlord's property. That's not a tenant. That's a thief." Jake's face went pale. "I'll pay her back." "With what money?" Aunt Linda demanded. "He doesn't have money for all this." "Then he shouldn't have sold her things," Jennifer said. "Mom, you can't possibly be defending him right now." "I'm not defending him. I'm being realistic. Where is he supposed to get $1,500 plus utility bills plus storage fees? He has a 70-inch TV and a gaming setup that probably cost $3,000, Marcus pointed out. He can sell those." "Those are his belongings." "Bought with what money?" Sarah asked. "Jake, where did you get the money for all this stuff?" Silence, then quietly. "Your Amazon account was still logged in on the tablet." The words hung in the air like a bomb. Sarah pulled out her phone with shaking hands and opened her Amazon app. The order history loaded slowly, and with each item that appeared, her stomach dropped further. A gaming chair, 3 monitors, an Xbox Series X, a mechanical keyboard, a sound system, noise-canceling headphones. The charges went back weeks, thousands of dollars in total. You used my Amazon account, Sarah said slowly. You spent $3,000 on my credit card. I was going to pay you back. I'm waiting on a settlement from my old landlord, and when that comes through... You're delusional, Emma said. Genuinely delusional. Sarah scrolled through the orders, her vision blurring. Some of this shipped to other addresses. Jake. Who are these people? Just friends. I told them I'd help them out since I had Prime. You used my account to buy things for your friends. Sarah looked up at him. You committed fraud. Repeatedly. That's a crime, Jake. The confidence drained from Jake's face completely. Sarah, come on, we're family. You keep saying that like it means something to you. Sarah turned to her parents. I'm pressing charges. For the laptop, the jewelry, and the credit card fraud. Sarah, wait. Aunt Linda started. No, I'm done waiting. I'm done being understanding. I'm done letting Jake face zero consequences because he's family. Sarah pulled up her credit card company's number. He has until tomorrow to move out completely, return everything he hasn't sold, and give me access to that storage unit, or I file a police report for everything. That's blackmail. Aunt Linda's voice pitched high. That's mercy, Grandmother said. Sarah would be within her rights to call the police right now. She's offering him a chance to make this right. Jake looked around the room, finding no allies. Even Madison had retreated to the bedroom. Fine. Okay, I'll move out. Tonight, Sarah said. I need time to find a place. You should have thought of that before you moved into mine. You have friends you bought Xbox controllers for. I'm sure one of them has a couch. Sarah's voice didn't waver. Midnight tonight. If you're still here, I'm calling the police and filing charges for everything. Her father stepped forward. And I'll be here to make sure that happens. Your mother and I will be staying the night. Jake opened his mouth, looked at Sarah's father's face, and closed it again. Fine, whatever. Come on, Madison. Start packing. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Jake and Madison loaded boxes into a borrowed truck while Sarah's father supervised. Her mother went through the apartment with Sarah, documenting every damaged item, every missing piece. The storage unit key appeared on the kitchen counter without explanation. At 10 p.m., Sarah's phone rang. It was Mr. Chen. Sarah, I wanted to let you know I'm waiving the lock change fee, and I'm not going to charge you for the carpet cleaning I was going to require. What happened to you isn't fair, and I don't want to make it worse. Sarah's eyes burned. Thank you. That means a lot. You've been a good tenant for 2 years. Some people take advantage of good people. Don't let it change who you are. By 11:30, Jake's truck was loaded. He stood in the doorway of the now empty apartment looking smaller somehow. I really was going to pay you back, he said. I don't believe you, Sarah replied, but it doesn't matter anymore. Just go. He went. Madison followed without looking back. The door closed behind them, and Sarah stood in her apartment, surrounded by empty spaces where her furniture should have been. We'll get your stuff from storage tomorrow, her mother said, hugging her, and we'll replace anything that can't be recovered. I can afford to replace it myself, Mom. I know you can, but let us help. Please. Sarah nodded, too tired to argue. Her phone buzzed with a message from Marcus. The family group chat had split into 2, he informed her. The people who believed Jake, and the people who knew better. Aunt Linda had left both chats entirely. She'll come around, Jennifer texted privately. Or she won't. Either way, you did the right thing. Emma arrived with sleeping bags and wine. Sleep over in your reclaimed apartment. It's a tradition now. They sat on the floor where Sarah's couch used to be, drinking wine from coffee mugs since Sarah's wine glasses were in storage. Emma pulled up a YouTube video on her phone, some mindless comedy thing, but Sarah wasn't watching. "I can't believe he thought he'd get away with it," she said finally. "Guys like Jake always think they'll get away with it. They're always shocked when consequences actually happen." Emma refilled Sarah's mug. "But you stood up for yourself. That's huge. Half my family hates me now. Half your family is wrong, and the half that matters has your back." Sarah's father poked his head in from where he'd been checking the bedroom. "All clear. No surprises hiding anywhere. You want me to stay up? Keep watch?" "Dad, I'm 28. I can handle it." "Humor your old man. I'll sleep better knowing you're safe." So her father took the bedroom floor while Sarah and Emma claimed the living room. At some point around 2 a.m., Sarah finally fell asleep, exhausted and anxious, but in her own home. The next morning, she woke to sunlight streaming through windows that Jake hadn't bothered to cover. Her father was already up, making coffee in her kitchen. Emma was on her phone, scrolling. "Your story is blowing up," Emma said. "What?" Jennifer posted about it on social media. "Not naming names, but the details. People are losing their minds. Everyone's got a story about a family member who took advantage." Emma showed her the post. 300 comments and counting. Sarah read through a few. Stories of borrowed cars never returned, money loaned and never repaid. Boundary after boundary crossed in the name of family. She wasn't alone in this. "You should tell the full story," Emma said. "The details. What really happened. People need to hear it. I don't want to air family drama publicly. Jake already did that when he lied to everyone. You're just setting the record straight." Sarah thought about it while she drank coffee. About Jake's assumption that she'd just accept it. About Aunt Linda's insistence that family meant accepting mistreatment. About how close she'd come to just letting him stay because it was easier than fighting. She pulled out her phone and started typing. The whole story, from the initial request to check on her apartment to last night's confrontation. She didn't name Jake, but she didn't protect him either. She included screenshots of the text messages, photos of the apartment before and after, the utility bills. She posted it to her personal social media with a simple message. "Setting boundaries with family doesn't make you cruel. It makes you sane." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Friends she hadn't spoken to in years reached out with support. Strangers shared it with comments about their own experiences. Someone suggested she submit it to a YouTube channel that shared stories like this. "Do it," Emma urged. "Your story could help someone else stand up for themselves." So Sarah did. She wrote out everything in detail, every emotion, every moment of doubt. She sent it off and tried not to think about it. 2 months later, her apartment was fully furnished again. Some items recovered from storage, some replaced, some upgraded. She'd won her small claims case against Jake for the credit card charges, though she doubted she'd ever see the money. Aunt Linda still wasn't speaking to her, but her grandmother called every Sunday. The YouTube channel posted her story. She watched it once, hearing her words read by a stranger's voice, seeing her experience validated by thousands of comments. People thanked her for sharing. People said her story gave them courage to set their own boundaries. If you're watching this, Sarah thought, if this story resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment about your own experience with family boundaries. And remember that protecting yourself isn't selfish. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you will take advantage if you let them. Don't let them. Your home, your space, your peace of mind matters. Stand up for it. And if you've got a cousin like Jake, change your locks before you leave town. Trust me on that one. She closed the video and looked around her apartment. It was hers again. Fully, completely, undeniably hers. And this time she wasn't giving anyone a spare key.